You hear the screeching of an owl, you hear the wind begin to howl. You know there's zombies on the prowl. And it's terror time again. They've got you running through the night. It's terror time again. And you just might die of fright. It's a terrifying time.
It's time for round 2 of a SoulFilcher special. In this video, we're going to take a look at most of the rest of the mods that Soul brings to the table. From water containers to food, to getting all dolled up for your stroll in the town for a zombie beatdown. So tune in, let's take a look at some more SoulFilcher mods. But before we begin, I'd like to shout out Foxfire on her lovely work. Be sure to catch her on Twitch. I'd also like to ask y'all to consider supporting the video with a like and a sub if you enjoy the content. The final disclaimer I'd like to add is not all the mods at the time of making this video may be multiplayer compatible, so be sure to check the mod page as well as the mod comments. Now let's go find ourselves some Soul. Are you looking for an expansion on the snacks that you can make and find in the world? Are you feeling those hunger pains? Then let me introduce the Cooking Time mod. This bad boy does 3 things. First, it activates some food and such that's found in the files but not currently in the game. The mod adds a ton of new food and cooking items to the game. There's a variety of new spices such as paprika and cinnamon. There's a lot of new canned and jarable foods. Hell, there's also a nice expansion of the non-perishable foods as well, with additions like macaroni and dried beans. Even 2 small quality of life changes like say pots of chili. There's even new baking items like a cupcake tray to make cupcakes of your very own. And 3, this mod adds a variety of new cooking recipes that are accessible with 3 new issues of the Good Cooking magazine. My only issue is the Good Cooking magazines aren't named separately, so you have to take a good look at them and make sure you got the right ones and not the vanilla magazine. So be sure to look over what the recipes say. But still, overall, this is a fantastic ad, especially if you're tired of the variety the game already offers you and you want more options for your gameplay needs. Are you tired of having all these things lying around like red solo cups or the big gulp style fountain cups and not being able to use them so they just end up taking up space? Well, if this is the case, then let's take a look at the Drinking Time mod. This little quality of life mod is simple. It lets you fill a bunch of those items you'd logically be able to fill with water. Can you only find a dog dish? Fill that bitch up. You got an empty soda can? Fill her up. How about that mega gulp cup you found in the woods under a log? Well, fill that bitch up with some water. Are you out of paint? Fill it with water. Too bad the paint still doesn't have lead in it. You'd really get that Flint experience. Overall, it's a pretty cool and useful little mod, though. Are you ready to play dress up? All your school bullies are dead and now zombies, so no one can judge you for how you dress. So let's boot up dressing time and really go buck wild with those outfits. Let's start small. This mod changes a few vanilla based mechanics. So now your belts are visible on your character, so no more running around in your undies without at least your tool belt showing. If you're feeling wacky, you can now wear buckets on your head as a helmet. And socks? Socks can now be worn mismatched, so mix them up, wear blue and a red, or green and a yellow. Cause hey, who's gonna tell you not to? Not your zombified mother, that's for sure. A variety of vanilla items have also been tinted different colors, and speaking of vanilla items, a rather substantial amount of items have had new variations added, which will be displayed in a list on screen. But most importantly, there's also been a few dozen new items added that run the gamut from the normal and logical to the outright bizarre or downright insane. Want to dress up in a sign to advertise a gold business? You can do that. You want to display your love for the classic rock band AC/DC? You can do that. You want a big old poncho? You can bet your ass you can do that. For some reason, you love the House of Mouse? Well, now you too can wear a big wacky set of Mickey Mouse ears. Take the zombies to the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse to meet the Club Hammer. But this isn't nearly everything. So if you want to find more, then boot this mod up yourself and take it for a spin. Are you bored of the default character customization options provided to you by the game? You need a little extra style for your survivor? Or you just want some ridiculous hair colors to go with your naked billboard adventures using the last mod? Well, let me introduce Beautifying Time. This mod adds 8 new facial hairs, 9 new hairstyles, and 19 goddamn new hair colors. You want to look like Guile from Street Fighter but with a teal blue do? Then do it up. If you want to get a hold of these new colors, then be thorough when checking the bathrooms of homes or head to your nearest salon or hairstylist, as these are the places most likely to hold the different hair dyes. Once again, another mod that seeks to do a very specific thing, and it does it pretty damn well. Also 10 out of 10 for that thumbnail pic. It still makes me laugh every time I see the damn thing. Do you have a fear of the dark? Or maybe you're just tired of not being able to see a goddamn thing while the horde can spot you from a mile away? Well, with Exploring Time, we've got a variety of new fantastic light sources, including some non-handheld options to give you a light source without taking away your defensibility, as there's nothing worse than having to juggle a flashlight and a crowbar in a dark abandoned building. Or maybe you just want your offhand free to carry an extra bag of loot back home. This mod adds 3 new light sources, that being flares, gas lanterns, and torches. Let's start with the first one I mentioned, that being flares. Flares are your typical roadside flares. As soon as you equip them, they activate. Keep in mind that these things burn out the quickest, as flares typically don't burn long. Now, the next thing you're most likely to use is the torch. Torches are easily made by either using a chair leg broken off from a chair or a tree branch that you foraged up and combined with some gas from a bottle of gas. Which is another thing I should mention. This mod does allow you to pour gasoline into empty bottles, which allows you to have a more portable source of fuel that you can use to either craft the torches or fuel the next item. Now, one thing I have noticed with the torches and flares is they don't continue to burn once they're taken out of your hands, which is weird because the torch still says lit. Now, the final thing this mod adds is gas-powered lanterns. This is another thing that can be found but not made. But this baby is the most useful of the 3 newly added light sources. This one burns the longest, it can be refueled at any time with more gas, and it can be easily extinguished or lit with matches or a lighter. But the biggest benefit of this one is the fact it can be attached to one of your 2 belt locations and still provides a light source. This is perfect for on-the-go looting at night, and I'd also like to note that everything does seem to have a fairly large range for light cast. The final thing this mod does is it gives a physical model to the lit candle when held, so there's no more invisible candles. Overall, it's a delightful mod, and it also has a very amusing thumbnail. Just look at that spooked spiffo. Are you ready for a large expansion of knowledge for the various skills? Are you tired of not being able to level up your maintenance skill faster than the speed of a snail? Do you struggle to find various skill and recipe magazines? Or are you on a server with a dick who has hoarded or destroyed most forms of literature on the map? Well, the Learning Time mod can help with all these problems and more. First up, this mod adds skill books for the maintenance skill, so now we can grind up our maintenance in a much more effective way and make some of those weaker weapons like spears that much better, as even a level 0 spear will slay if it doesn't break on you. Next up is the guides. You ever struggle to find that one magazine you're missing? Well, if you're lucky enough to stumble across a complete guide for a skill, it'll teach you all the recipe mags that are available for that skill. This is especially useful for things like electronics or metalworking, which have 4 mags each. What's better though is if you're playing multiplayer and you happen to get a hold of a guide or even just one of the lesser magazines, you can, using an empty notebook and a pen, transcribe noted version of the skills that can be used by other players to learn how to use these skills. Now that's pretty useful, especially in cooperative servers where, say, a generator or herbalist magazine can be tricky to stumble across. Now the guy who finds them can make notes for everyone. And this mod adds one final addition to the game. Do you wish you could use the engineer items while, you know, taking the engineer profession and locking you into those skills and such? Well, now you could find survivor notes within the world that teach you the recipes for all the engineer bombs. Now this sounds like quite a blast to me. You could say it was engineered perfectly. Do you wish there was even more improvised weaponry in the game to use to kill your foes with? Well, if this is the case, then let's take a look at the Clearing Time mod. It's time to clear out the hordes with a nice variety of new and vanilla weapons. 7 vanilla weapons have been modified to allow them to be used as weapons. This includes the corkscrew, that's really going to make those zombies whine. The lug wrench, really great for lugging it out. The mop, for when you want a really clean house. The paintbrush, for when you want to paint the town red. Pillows for either your PvP pillow fights or giving someone that Silent Hill Mary treatment. Sturdy sticks can now be used to stick it to the zombies, and umbrellas for raining down pain. But don't think that's all. There's also 4 new weapons added as well. These include the chainsaw, a pretty groovy weapon. We got a nail gun for when those zombies really need to get nailed. A walking cane for when you just need another weapon to lean on. And a wooden cross for when you're feeling cross with the enemies and you want to beat them with the original zombie. Overall, it's another simple, straight-to-the-point mod, but it's always nice to increase the variety of weaponry in-game, even if it does cause y'all to hate my lame puns. Though, that being said, there are a few complaints I'd like to mention for this mod specifically. The chainsaw animations can be a bit janky and easy to get stuck in. The nail gun, while having a fairly low sound effect, apparently are insanely loud to the zombies as it drew in one hell of a horde. So the sound radius of the nail gun could probably stand to be reduced some. Especially as at low levels, this gun is practically worthless as it will alert everything and kill almost nothing. Now at high levels, however, it will destroy zombies as long as you can keep that 50 round magazine loaded. I'm going to mention one last mod, but it's not entirely its own thing, as this mod's a bit different. That's going to be the Awesome Time mod. This mod's essentially a compilation mod of all the ones that are compatible with the Build 41.65 multiplayer. It contains the beautifying, building, clearing, cooking, drinking, exploring, farming, foraging, and learning time mods. If you want either or all of these in one quick and convenient place to play with all of them, this is the mod for you. Be warned that the Awesome Time mods won't always be up to date as the individual mods themselves due to the developer wanting to not cause file version issues for players. Otherwise, this mod is as simple as that. It's a bunch of the other mods that have been tested to work in multiplayer, so grab it if you want to kill some time with friends. This just about covers most of SoulFilcher's mods. I know I didn't cover every single mod the dude's done, but I didn't really want to cover the several sponsored mods as I'm not sure if those are commissions or not. I may take a look at all of them in a separate video later, but either way, there's still quite a lot of content to cover. The dude's prolific as fuck. I hope he continues to dazzle and impress with either future mods, or as the currently existing mods get updated with new content. I'd also like to say be lenient on the dude with updating speed. I mean, when you have enough mods to fill several videos, it's gonna take time to update and make sure they're entirely compatible as the game updates. Once again, dude, fantastic work. I also can't look at your profile picture without chuckling at the idea of Spiffo and fucking Space Marine armor from StarCraft 2. Overall, I think my favorite mod from today's batch has to be Learning Time. That one's most likely going in my permanent rotation, especially as maintenance is one of the most pain in the ass skills to level up. And all the other benefits of it are such a nice addition, especially if you happen to stumble upon one of those guides while playing some extremely rare loot challenges, such as the Storm or Winter is Coming challenges. But I think this just about wraps up this video. There's been a lot of good shit covered here today. Be sure to check Soul's workout down below and give him the props he deserves. Before I go, I'd like to once again thank today's artist Foxfire. Check that caffeine addict live on Twitch sometime, and I'd also like to thank y'all for supporting the content, especially all the members. The list is growing and that's honestly insane to me. So once again, thank you so much.